Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to see you all joining so promptly. I am seeing the attendee numbers here ramping up very, very quickly. And we have over 186 attendees registered for this webinar today. So absolutely fantastic. And we are so excited to get stuck in. So I'm just going to leave about 30 seconds just to have a few more attend, and then we will begin. Okay. Good afternoon and welcome to the Instagrowth webinar as part of Mid-Ulster Enterprise Week 2023. My name is Cara from Dungannon Enterprise Centre, and I am hosting this event on behalf of Mid-Ulster District Council. I am thrilled to be joined this afternoon by Cara Jackson, the social media and content lead at Digital24, which is an award-winning digital marketing agency. Instagram has become an essential tool for businesses, enabling them to share visual stories, engage with customers, and promote their products. And Cara will share her valuable insights from effective growth tactics to mastering Reels and optimizing hashtag use. This session is going to be packed full with practical insights and will help you explore how you can use Instagram to grow your brand. We are using Zoom webinars today. So for this masterclass, I would encourage you to use the Q&A feature to add any of your questions for Cara during this session. And if you're having any technical difficulties, please use the chat function for this. And our tech support, Kiva, who is on this call, is going to assist you. So without further ado, Cara, I'll hand over to you.
Hi everyone, I'm just going to start sharing my screen so you can all see the presentation. Can you all see this okay?
Yep, perfect.
Thanks so much, Claire. Well, thank you so much for the introduction. I just think I'll give a little overview about myself first before I kick off all things Instagram related. So a little bit about me. My name is Cara. I am social and content lead at Digital24. Digital24, for anyone wondering, we're a digital marketing agency. We are based in Belfast. We actually have moved into brand new offices there this morning. And we would specialize in a lot of paid advertising, Google ads, Facebook ads, SEO, TikTok ads, and then very much my side where I would specialize in organic social. So very much organic Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, you name it. I'm creating content on it. I would create a lot of content for the likes of TikTok. So I would specialize a lot on video, a little bit of SEO and a little bit of influencer work as well. So enough about me. I'm aware we have a jam-packed session, so we will just get stuck in. So first of all, why would we use Instagram for business? So I think back in the day, Facebook was always the platform that businesses gravitated towards. Everyone was on Facebook and they were posting and they were getting some really good return. And we find that the past probably 5-6 years, Instagram has really started to become the champion social media platform. Everyone slowly started to move to the Instagram platform and they're absolutely loving it, just for more the visual storytelling element. So take a look at Instagram. Beyond its visual appeal, the platform empowers brands to tell stories, engage deeply with their audiences, and drive sales through features like shoppable posts. We will talk about things like Instagram Shop throughout this presentation. With Instagram as well, you've got interactive tools like polls and Q&As that you've got through Instagram stories. And you've also got fantastic analytics so you can measure your performance from a business stance as well. So what we're going to be on, the kind of structure for today is all around 12 ways to grow your Instagram profile. Now it says more followers, but that's essentially how you would grow your Instagram platform, is to get more and more people over to your Instagram page. And as a result, they'll see your content, they'll view your content and maybe take an action, whether it's to go onto your website or whether it's maybe to phone you for maybe to book in an appointment, whatever that might be. So a couple of things we're going to be discussing today is prioritizing genuine growth. We'll talk about things like bot followers and bot engagement. That is important to spot out throughout this presentation. How do you establish a memorable brand? Perfecting your profile. So we'll talk through a couple of the basics when it comes to setting up an Instagram profile, particularly if you are new. Mastering your content strategies. So we'll look at things like writing captions, hashtags, and optimal times of posting. Ensuring content accessibility. The new collaboration feature on Instagram, which I'm a huge fan of, and we'll talk about in a bit more detail. We'll talk through features like Instagram Reels and why companies are starting to create short form video content for better engagement. Embracing shareable content, encouraging user interactions. We'll talk a little bit about user generated content, Instagram giveaways, and how to build and nurture community connections. So it will be a jam-packed session, so we'll get stuck right in. So first of all, we have don't buying Instagram followers. This is all about keeping your Instagram profile truly authentic. I would always talk about this because with influencers and the power of influencer marketing these days, there's a lot of Instagram profiles, whether they're big brands or whether they're influencers, with a lot of bot followers and bot engagement. It's very easy to just go on to Google nowadays and buy 10,000 followers. But in my opinion, why would you want 10,000 followers when they're not actually going to be interested in your products or services? I would rather follow an Instagram account with 200 followers than an Instagram account with 200,000 followers. Followers mean nothing to a consumer. Yes, it's important for a business because obviously the more followers, the more people that are seeing your content, but please do avoid buying followers and buying engagement on the platform. It just genuinely does nothing for your business. So that's just one thing I always like to highlight when you are starting on the platform. So next up then, you want to have a strong personal brand. And how about you can go about doing that is talking about things that I would call content pillars and having a true authentic brand, whether it's having your clear brand guidelines, i.e. your brand font, your brand logo, your brand colors throughout your Instagram feed, making sure you've got your logo in your profile image, making sure you've got your nice tone of voice. So anytime you're writing copy for your business, that it's true to your brand or business. So one thing I like to talk about is when you're obviously establishing that strong personal brand over on Instagram, you need to kind of think about key content pillars you're going to be posting on the platform. You know, I could be, you know, in the medical industry. So a lot of my content is going to be educational focused, a little bit of promotional, whether we're trying to get customers through the door and we might offer like a short-term deal, maybe Black Friday coming up, we might do something in around that. But a lot of the content we will be focusing on, if I was in the medical brand, would be a lot of educational and maybe a little bit of connecting content and making people actually connect with what we do. For example, we would do work for an orthodontist. And a lot of our content tends to be very educational, where we're kind of teaching consumers about the benefits of, you know, getting teeth straightened and looking after your teeth. But also we like to kind of connect with the audience and taking a look at kind of key like milestones in people's lives, whether it's, you know, they're getting married and they want to perfect their smile. And maybe they, you know, they have got teenagers or they've got, you know, maybe kids, they're maybe 11, 12, 13. They're maybe going down the brace kind of route and maybe they want to be educated on that. So as a brand, you need to be thinking about those key moments that a customer might want to learn about your product and service. And as a result, you're going to create content around that. So for anyone wondering more about content pillars, here is a quick wee overview of content pillars from like a brief perspective. So first of all, you've got your educational content. So that's the content, taking it from that orthodontist side of you, you know, it's going to be, you know, how to make sure that you're brushing your teeth correctly. And maybe it could be a nice wee carousel on Instagram teaching people ways that they can brush their teeth, from how long to brush, what's the best toothbrush, what's the best toothpaste. That's all stuff that those consumers would want to learn if they follow that type of brand. Similar to that, then you've got inspirational content. I will always use the example of Little Penny Thoughts. I don't know if anyone follows Little Penny Thoughts. She's an absolutely incredible speaker, mentor, influencer, content creator. And what she would do is she would like upload a lot of like inspirational, motivational quotes. And as a result, she's turned this into a business. And now she sells diaries and like little flip calendars with positive quotes that you'll have every single day. So all of her content is very inspirational. It's uplifting. People want to follow it because they want to kind of see that content when they are scrolling on social media. Interactive content, I always use the example of, you know, it's kind of that heart react if you prefer chicken noodles, or laughy react if you like beef noodles. They're kind of your engaging pieces of content to get people commenting and leaving back a reaction. And I think that's a really, really good one there. I see Claire raised a hand there. I don't know if you've got a wee question, Claire, at all. I'll talk through the rest of the content pillars and then we'll get round to that. We then have connecting content. Connecting content, I always find, is you trying to connect with your audience with a certain topic. So you find that the likes of Belfast Live would be a really good example of this, where they would connect with their audience because they're talking about something that's happening in Northern Ireland right now. Okay. Promotional, again, is self-explanatory. That's kind of your sales-based content. If you've got maybe Black Friday or Christmas deals, for example, that's the stuff you want to be posting on your social. Newsworthy is like your press releases, any news articles, any like announcements to do with your business. You've won a couple of awards. That's stuff you would want to rant and rave about on your social. And finally, you've got your entertaining, which I always use the example as like your competitions, and any content like memes and funny videos would fall under that category. So as a business, you need to be telling yourself, I need to pick 3 or 4 key content pillars here and think about the types of content I want to be posting on Instagram. So I always say, like to use the example of picking maybe 3 or 4. So for that orthodontist, for example, I would use a mixture of educational content. I'll use a little bit of promotional content, a little bit of like connecting content as well, and some entertaining content, whether it's, fun videos of staff taking part in TikToks or funny trends and challenges, just so we're not just being serious all the time too. It's nice to have that entertaining content for engagement purposes. Okay. Next wee step then is you want to perfect your profile. So this is for anyone that's joining this webinar today and maybe you don't have an Instagram profile, or maybe you have an Instagram and you don't really use it that much. So a couple of things you need to bear in mind when you are setting up an Instagram profile for the first time is making sure you've got your brand logo as your profile image. I mentor a lot of businesses throughout Northern Ireland, and the amount of times where it's maybe their hairdresser and their logo is maybe an image of someone's hair, or your construction company and your profile icon is a picture of your company car. Please do avoid that. You'd rather have your brand in there. Ideally, for a business on Instagram, you want people to start recognizing your brand logo and your business. So making sure that you've got in your profile icon your brand is so important. And then again, throughout your images or any of your carousel posts or reels, making sure you're bringing through some of your brand colors and brand fonts in there too. Keep your username consistent with other social media platforms. And because Digital24 was a popular handle, we couldn't actually secure that. So we are Digital24 on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. So we like to keep that consistent username there. Incorporate keywords relevant to your niche in your account name. So I know a lot of influencers and UGC content creators do this really well, where they'll maybe have, Cara and then a wee dash, Belfast food blogger. So if I'm a Belfast food blogger, if people are actively searching for Belfast food or Belfast bloggers, my account could have potentially come up there. So making sure you've maybe got some keywords in there. So at Digital24, you could have Digital24 and then it could be dash marketing agency. So if anyone's maybe searching for a marketing agency on Instagram, our profile could potentially appear. And it's not even the same with your name. It's also the same with your bio as well. Your bio is really short and sweet. Ideally, you've only got 3 or 4 lines to work with on the Instagram bio. So this is where you want to stuff it with as many keywords as possible associated with your business. So let's say I'm a hairdresser, for example. I'm an award-winning hairdresser based in Omagh, Northern Ireland. So again, that tells me if I'm searching for a hairdresser in Omagh, potentially my profile could appear. So think about a couple of keywords associated with your business or your niche that you could pop into your bio. It's also important to add links. Instagram actually recently launched the power of you can add up to 5 links in your Instagram bio. And back about 6 months ago, this is only 1 link, and it was like that for years. And Instagram still don't have clickable links on their actual Instagram posts, which is so annoying in my opinion. So it's really nice to see that they've actually embedded more than 5 links then on the profile. So that means then, let's say you're a company and you maybe have a Black Friday sale, you've got a blog post, you're recruiting, and then you've got your general website. You can add links to all those separate web pages to make it easier for the consumer if they're wanting to maybe shop the Black Friday sale, instead of them having to go onto your website and try to find a certain product. So that's a great way to use that tool. Make sure that you're a creator or business account for analytics. So for anyone that's setting up a business profile for the very first time, make sure you are switched to a business account or a creator account. That way you have access to your analytics so you can start reporting and measuring performance. Finally, you want to make sure you have 2-factor authentication. I don't know if anyone's been starting to see all those spam messages going about right now. A lot of these bot messages appearing in your Facebook Messenger or on your Instagram pages. Bots are rife at the minute, and you do want to keep yourself protected here. The amount of businesses that I've mentored that have got hacked recently and have lost their account, or even worse, they've got access to their credit card details through Facebook ads. make sure you have two-factor authentication turned on. This is very simple to do. Simply just go onto your Facebook profile or your Instagram profile, go on to settings, and then go on to security and privacy, and make sure you've got two-factor turned on. What that will ask you to do is it'll ask you to download a third-party authenticator app. I have Google Authenticator. And what that means is anyone that logs into my Facebook or my Instagram profile for the very first time on an unrecognized device, I have to use my Google Authenticator, which generates 6-digit codes every 60 seconds. So it's virtually impossible for those bots to get access to that code in 60 seconds if they don't have access to my phone. Or you can set it up where it just sends you a text message to your mobile. So each to their own, whatever method you want, make sure you've got it set up. And then finally, you can use story highlights to showcase evergreen content and brand them. This is a great opportunity for branding. You can see here on the Digital 24 screenshot, Instagram story highlights are just these wee navy circles here. For anyone that doesn't know, Instagram stories only last 24 hours. After 24 hours, you can no longer see them on the profile unless you add them to your story highlights. And that's why it's important to have that evergreen content, that content that doesn't actually run out of expiry. You know, if you've got a Black Friday offer, you're not going to put that into your Instagram story highlights. It's maybe going to be like, you know, throw back to a couple of events you've run in the past, and maybe some of your tips on social media, for example, from Digital 24's perspective, and think about that evergreen content that you could put up there. And then you can use tools like Canva to brand those story highlights by just creating nice wee graphics and adding them as your cover. Okie doke. Our fourth wee tip for today then is mastering your content strategy. And this is probably a separate section in this webinar where we're going to go into a lot of content pieces and a lot of recommendations. So first of all, we have our Instagram SEO. So remember there previously I was talking about keyword stuffing throughout your Instagram bio. Instagram is really starting to hammer down on the importance of Instagram SEO. For anyone that doesn't know what SEO is, it's search engine optimization. And it's essentially if you type in woman's handbag on Google, you're going to be served loads of websites like Boohoo, Michael Kors, Pretty Little Thing. All these people are competing against each other, and it's all through keywords. So what Google's doing is essentially they're taking as many of these women's handbag search terms and seeing what website has the most keywords and has the most relevance to that search term that they're searching for on Google. So Instagram SEO works kind of similar, where if you're maybe searching for a makeup brush, for example, Instagram will serve you loads of content around makeup brushes, but how they're finding that content is through makeup brush being in the actual video caption, being in the actual video, the actual post caption, or it could be through hashtags. Okay, so there's 3 different opportunities for Instagram SEO, and it's all around adding keywords throughout your captions, your actual video, and through hashtags. We'll talk about this in a wee bit more detail later on, but I just want everyone to remember the importance of this. If you are, for example, a shoe company, you want to make sure that you've got all of your relevant shoe related words and keywords within your bios and your videos and within your captions itself. So if new consumers are maybe searching for some, shoe content, your business could essentially appear on the discover page on Instagram. Okay. Alongside that, you're going to do a little bit of a hashtag strategy. I get asked a lot of questions on hashtags and the importance of hashtags. I absolutely love them. I use up to 30 hashtags in every single post that I do for clients. And I believe that hashtags are the reason why content go viral for my clients. Particularly, I work for 2 baby brands, and those baby brands really thrive because of hashtag work. Okay, so there's 2 websites that I would recommend. First of all, you've got Inflact, INFLACT, and you've got all hashtag. There is loads of generators online. If you literally just simply go onto Google and type in hashtag generator, there's loads of free websites out there that will essentially prompt you to type in a keyword, i.e., Northern Ireland, or it could be hairdresser. And as a result, it will generate top hashtags, trending hashtags, and random hashtags. So I'd always recommend using a mixture of hashtags. Usually when I'm training, I recommend using broad, niche, and specific hashtags. When I say broad, let's say I am a restaurant. My hashtags that are broad would be hashtag restaurant, hashtag food, hashtag dinner, hashtag brunch. They're all very broad, popular hashtags that are used across the world. Your niche hashtags would be probably more your location and brand specific hashtags. So you've obviously got the likes of your hashtag Northern Ireland, hashtag Belfast, wherever my restaurant is, let's say it's in Belfast City Centre, hashtag Belfast City Centre, hashtag Belfast Food, hashtag Belfast Foodie. You need to really put your yourself in the consumer's shoes here and think about search terms that they're actively searching for on Google or on Instagram. And as a result, then obviously you want your content to appear. And that's why location-specific hashtags are very important here, because if people are searching restaurant in Belfast, if you've got those similar hashtags or those keywords in your caption, your content is more than likely going to appear on the Discover page. Okay, so those two websites are absolutely fantastic for taking a look at hashtags. I also recommend just doing a little bit of hashtag research on Instagram itself. All right. So this is exactly what I talked about. Didn't realize this slide was in the deck. But yes, this is the mixture of broad, niche and specific, but in a wee bit of a format for you. So you can see there, I'm a burger restaurant. You can see there, I've got my brand hashtag, which is Cara's Burgers, just like it would be Digital24. Your niche hashtags, which are again more location specific. You've got your mid hashtags, which are a bit more, specific to your brand, i.e. let's say I'm more of a cafe. So I would do like coffee, brunch, that kind of thing. And then your top hashtags, which are quite broad, i.e. food, hashtag restaurant, for example. So hopefully that all makes sense. You then have to consider things like optimal times for posting, okay? Now, if anyone is familiar with Meta Business Suite, I don't know if anyone has used Meta Business Suite before, but it is absolutely fantastic for small businesses out there. Not even small businesses, for literally anyone that's scheduling content on Facebook and Instagram. It's an absolutely fantastic tool for scheduling your posts up to 28 days in advance. And within the Meta Business Suite platform, you will see that it will have active times. So you can see here, let's say I'm scheduling a post on Facebook. I can select my date and my time, but Facebook will always also recommend active times. And what this is doing is it's taking my demographic on Instagram and it's telling me when they're online the most, okay? So it's telling me that 8 p.m. is the best time for posting on my social media platform. So maybe try doing that and seeing if that helps you in terms of engagement. So it is a really, really good handy tool. Next wee slide then, consistency. Okay, so we've obviously talked about Instagram SEO, we've talked about writing captions, we've talked about the importance of hashtags and optimal times of posting. But you also need to be mindful of, if you really want to take your Instagram platform to the next level, consistency is key on the platform. All right. And when I say consistency, it doesn't mean posting every day. And I don't want people to stress and think, oh my God, I need to get a piece of content out every single day. No, that is not the case. But on Instagram, consistency, if you don't post for a month, then more than likely the next time you post, your audience isn't really going to see it, or a percentage of your audience is only going to see it. So consistency is really good to kind of keep followers still engaged with your content, and potentially, your content's going to appear on For You pages or your newsfeed, or it could appear on the Discover page on Instagram. So consistency, in my opinion, looks like in and around 3 to 4 posts a week. If you can. If you're doing 3 to 4 posts a week on Instagram, you're doing an absolutely fantastic job. If you're maybe doing 1 to 2 posts a week, that is still fantastic. You're still getting out regular content and your followers are still going to start to see your content on news feeds, particularly on your Instagram stories as well. I found with clients in the past, if they don't do daily story content, eventually their Instagram stories won't appear within the first maybe 10 stories of their followers. They tend to kind of drop off towards the end. So I do think daily story content is recommended in my opinion, but completely understand that is not possible for all business owners. So ideally, maybe every couple of days, if you can't even jump on the stories, even if that's resharing a funny meme, resharing one of your grid posts, or even just jumping on and doing a wee bit of a day in the life content, that is recommended. Okay, so consistency is something to remember. When we're also talking about content, I like to talk about a thing called 2-week train. For anyone that's probably scratching their heads to this, essentially a 2-week train over on Instagram is, I've run a competition, okay, on Instagram, and I've gained 200 new followers on my profile, all right? I have 2 weeks to keep that follower engaged in my content, or else after 2 weeks, if they haven't engaged with any other pieces of content by me other than that competition, they'll never see my content on their newsfeed ever again, or it'll be very, very hard to find the content. Okay, so this is always what I like to drill into business owners, is the importance of consistency. But also, if you're running a competition, it's your job then with your content strategy to be posting good content that they can still engage with. It's not just a competition. Okay, so what does an engagement look like on Instagram? So let's say I do have 200 new followers. What do I need to do, or what does the follower need to do in order for them to always see my content? So first of all, it's stopping their scroll. So they're on their newsfeed, they're scrolling, and they stop. That's counted as an engagement on Instagram. Liking, commenting, and sharing any pieces of content from yourself is counted. Giving an emoji reaction to any of your content, particularly with stories, maybe the fire emoji, the clapping emoji, whatever that might be. Clicking read more on a caption, that's counted as a really good engagement because people are actually interested in what you have to say and want to read more about it. Viewing one or more of your videos, and the watch time is also important. DMing your content to a friend, saving a post, and searching for your account are all seen as engagement metrics on Instagram. So if you've gained 200 new followers and about 50% of them have maybe liked another post by you, viewed a story, maybe liked it, shared it with a friend, they'll tend to see your content more often. Particularly on story content, Instagram, when you do follow a new brand or a new person for the very first time, their stories will always appear within your top 5% on Instagram stories. So try to keep it that way. That is always a recommendation. Another thing I also like to talk about is the most important engagement metric over on Instagram. And my one recommendation is the save button. Okay, a lot of people don't actually use the save button on Instagram, and it is so important because essentially that is the most important value mechanic to Instagram. Because essentially, if a user goes and actually saves one of your posts, that's telling Instagram that they love that post so much they want to go back to that post in future time. Okay, whether it's a recipe post, a fashion post, a motivational quote, they want to save that and go back to that in another time, because they love that content so much. So Instagram tends to serve more content that you like to save on your newsfeed. So that's something to be thinking about when you are thinking about content strategies for clients, is looking at ways that you can increase people and encourage followers to save. After save, the most important metric would be share. So you've enjoyed that content so much, you've shared it with a friend, a family member, and then they're viewing it as a result. So that helps your impressions, your reach, your engagement. You then have your comment, which is great for awareness. The more comments you get under a post, typically the Instagram algorithm will then serve that post to more and more people. That works really well on TikTok, by the way. And then finally, you've got like. Back in the day, everyone was so focused around likes and the importance of likes, but actually it's not the case anymore. It's your save, your share, and your comment button. All right. So let's talk about Reels then next, particularly when we are talking about content here in a bit more detail. If you are a business and you are getting a lot of like static images, carousels, whatever that might be, please do look at putting out short form video content via Instagram Reels. Instagram Reels are a fantastic way for impressions and for reaching more people, and they're also really good for engagement as well. The reason why I encourage businesses to do Instagram Reels is because you don't actually need to follow your business in order to see the content. So if I post on Digital 24s, I post a graphic, for example, the only people that see that graphic are my followers, unless one of my followers have shared that with a friend. All right. But let's say, you know, there could be 20 people sitting in Belfast right now and they're on their Discover page on Instagram. They could be served a Digital 24 reel, but they don't follow Digital 24. All right. So that's usually the example that I give. So it's a great and fantastic opportunity for businesses to tap into new audience and gain new followers. I use the example of, I actually have a food blog, and I had a video that went live, I think, for 2 weeks. And the video got maybe about 2,000, 3,000 views and was sitting at about 100 likes. And after 2 weeks, all of a sudden, the reel blew up. And I got 75,000 views, and the reel now sitting with 2,500 likes. All right. That was 2 weeks after I posted it. So with Instagram Reels, it's not only that the Reels are served to people that don't follow you. Reels can actually sit in the newsfeed and the Discover page for weeks after being uploaded. Unlike a static post or a carousel post, a static post only lasts on the Instagram newsfeed for 24 hours. And a carousel post, which is more than one image, lasts on the feed for 48 hours. But Instagram Reels, however, they can last in the feed for up to weeks at a time. All right. So it's always the thing that I always recommend for businesses is start exploring and experimenting with Instagram Reels and see how they perform for you as a business owner. So here's a couple of best practice tips when it comes to Reels. So first of all, you want to keep things simple. Please don't overcomplicate things. I always use the example of there's a lot of organizations out there which will get, they'll get a big ad team or marketing team. They'll spend a big budget and getting big cameras out and overproducing kind of content that's just not going to perform on Instagram. With the launch of TikTok nowadays, people are used to kind of content that is shot in your mobile. They're used to that content, where it doesn't have a tripod. People are maybe filming and they're holding their camera and they're doing a video. You need to keep things simple, first of all. And please don't think about, yes, if I need a video, I need to get a video production team in. That is not the case anymore. Particularly if you're a small, business and you don't have an awful lot of budget to work with. To create for content strategy, just to get out regular content on Instagram, lift up your phone and just start filming. There is a stat out there that literally I think it's something like 70% of images with faces always perform better than any other post. Okay, so again, that's the thing about video content. It doesn't always need to have your face. I always find that videos of voiceovers also perform really, really well, and videos of faces obviously are recognizable and people relate to that more, but it doesn't always need to have a face or a voice to that to the video in order to perform. You want to keep your reel entertaining. So entertain your audience with short, sharp, funny clips. So that short form content in around 15 to 30 seconds long would be recommended. Keep it informative. So I always recommend to start video content with a hook. The first 5 seconds of your video really needs to draw your consumer in. So let's say I'm a chiropractor and a lot of my clientele are office workers. They're sitting at a desk all day and they suffer from upper back pain. So what I would want to do there with my Instagram reel is I would go, are you an office worker and do you struggle with back pain? Here are 5 exercises you can learn at home. Straight away, as an office worker, I'm like, happy days. Let me watch that video the whole way through because I suffer from back pain. I'm an office worker. I'm ticking all the boxes here. Of course, I'm going to watch the video the whole way through. So that's kind of a strategy I always recommend for your video content. Always have that hook and always have a point to your video. Keep it fun. I always say again, 15 to 30 seconds long. It doesn't always need to be funny. It could be an educational piece of content, but keep it short and sweet and always have a point in the video. And again, always have a point, i.e. a call to action. Okay. So as a result of watching that video, what do you want consumers to do? Is it to like the post? Is it to save the post? Is it to go to your website? Is it to purchase product? Think about the purpose of the video and what action you want the consumer to take. And then finally, have a twist. Can you give them something surprising or unexpected at the end? As a result, maybe they'll watch it 2 or 3 times, which will up your video views, or they'll maybe share it with a friend. So that's just something to consider. And then you want to use trends as inspiration. There's a lot of websites out there that have a lot of upcoming trends here in 2023. And often the number one question I get is, Cara, how do I find out all the latest Instagram trends? It is a matter of literally just sitting on Instagram and scrolling on Reels or going on TikTok and scrolling through your For You page and taking a look at, is there any similar audio that I'm starting to see all the time? Is there a trend that I'm starting to see on Instagram? Is there a CapCut trend I'm starting to see? There's also a fantastic resource that I would always recommend. It's called Sprout. I was going to say Sprout Social there. It's a blog by Later. So it's essentially later.com/blog/Instagram Reels trends. And what Later do is they're a social media company. And what they actually do is they create a blog every single week with all of the latest trends on Instagram. And that will mean for you trying to do a little bit of research and figure out what content to fill in, you've got loads of video ideas here and they're all upcoming trends that you can recreate for your business. So definitely do check out that blog. I think it's absolutely fantastic. So I'll just enlarge my screen up again. Trends are very important because they are good for video views. They are relevant. They're current. People will recognize the audio or they recognize the trend and they'll want to watch the whole way through. And you will find that Instagram will start to obviously serve that to other people's For You pages or for their news feeds over on Instagram. So I think trends are so important. But I think, again, that's the thing I always get asked is how to find those trends. use that blog. And then for audio clips, I always recommend just going onto your Instagram music library and pop it on the For You section, or just going on to the UK Top 40. All right. They will have a bunch of loads of trending audio that you can use for your Instagram reels. And as a result, your reels are going to perform better. Never use audio that's literally imported from third-party app, or that's, you know, let's say, for example, copyright free. If you do really want to get your reel viral, or you want to get good views on Instagram, you need to be using music from the Instagram music library. So that is important to note, just to help you with views and engagement. All right. Next slide then. So we're finished with content strategy side of things, and we're going to get into more of the nitty gritty in terms of a couple of tips over on Instagram. So first of all, you want to ensure content accessibility. So you can see here 69% of video is watched without sound. So adding on-screen text and subtitles are really important for your business. To boost Instagram accessibility, you want to add subtitles. There's a lot of free apps out there that you can use, like CapCut, and there's two fantastic apps that are paid, but I love them. You've got Caption, and you've also got Feed, VEED. They're fantastic subtitle apps, and they're just really impressive. They're really visual, and I really like them. But again, you've got free subtitles actually on TikTok and on Instagram that you can use. And I do recommend popping them in, particularly with Instagram stories, or if you're doing a piece to camera. Alongside that, you want to embrace shareable content. If there's anything that's trending right now, people are talking about a certain topic, i.e. this is back a wee bit of a flashback when Courtney announced her pregnancy with Travis Barker, and she held up the sign going, "Travis, I'm pregnant." I work for a couple of baby brands, so I kind of took that meme and kind of reacted to it and said, "Travis, we're going to need a snuggle bath." So this is like the Snuggle Baby Bath, which is their best-selling item. So I thought, right, this is the perfect opportunity to kind of blend a meme / trend and still relate it to my business. If you can do that, it really will help you with engagement. This post alone had 6 times more engagement than any other post on the Snuggle feed, because it was so reactive. So if you do see any kind of reactive type posts, do jump on them if they are relevant to your business. Next, you want to encourage user interactions. And this is kind of your way to kind of encourage people to share with their friends, comment an experience, tag a friend in the comments, or save the post for future reference. Like I said previous to that, save mechanic is really, really popular on Instagram. It is probably the preferred engagement metric. So you as a brand or a business will need to think about ways to encourage more engagement on Instagram. So this is another baby brand that I work on. This is Snuggle. So what I was doing for engagement metric is I was going double tap if you love that fresh newborn smell. And that way I was encouraging likes on Instagram. Another one was, let's talk about pregnancy cravings. Let us know your cravings in the comments. And as a result, I got lots of mothers talking about all of their cravings and their pregnancy cravings within the comments. And it's done really well for impressions and really well in terms of engagement over on Instagram, which is what we want. Next, you want to lean into user-generated content, often known as UGC. If you are a business and you struggle to get content, or you don't have the time for content creation, UGC content creators, or even just encouraging the everyday customer to create content, and maybe providing an incentive to some extent, will help you for your content strategy. All right. This is an example of a client of ours, Dale Farm, and every month they run a UGC incentive to win a £50 shopping voucher. Okay. So the everyday customer, if they tag us in one of their bakes or recipes or dinners that's featuring Dale Farm product, they're up for grabs to win a £50 voucher. And that way it's encouraging people to tag us in their recipes because they've got that opportunity to win something. Or you could explore going down the route of working with a UGC content creator. A UGC content creator they're often known as influencers, but they don't have influence, okay? So they're fantastic content creators, and they can create content for your business that you can then use in ads or for your organic Instagram platform. So it could be something worth exploring down the line. You then have Instagram shops. So for those that are in e-commerce and you do sell online, whether it's Shopify, WordPress, whatever CMS system you do have, you can embed your website with Instagram. And that way it means anytime you're uploading a post to Instagram, people can tap on the image and it can let them know the price and the name of the product. When you tap on that, it will then take users straight to your website and they can purchase the product at a click at a button. It's the same with TikTok shop as well. I think it's just such a popular thing right now. Instagram shop although Instagram shop has been there longer than TikTok, I think TikTok has completely elevated their TikTok game, and definitely for a lot of businesses in e-commerce, they're doing such a fantastic job. So if you are in e-commerce, I do genuinely recommend doing this, because what you can do is not only with your Instagram posts, you can also tag products on your Instagram reels and on your Instagram stories as well. So it is a super handy feature. We then have competitions. So if you're a business that are really struggling with follower growth over on the platform, you're struggling with engagement, reach, followers, competitions is a great way to combat that. So you do find that I do an awful lot of collaborations for businesses where the mechanic is follower growth. So I always recommend running a competition with a high ticket item. When I say high ticket item, anything above £150 is seen as substantial. And obviously the more substantial the prize is, the more likely people are going to go out of their way, they're going to like, they're going to comment, they're going to share. You know, back maybe 3-4 years ago, particularly during lockdown, I find competitions absolutely boomed on the platform because nothing else to do essentially. Competitions don't get as much engagement as they did, but they still are a great way for follower growth if you are wanting to achieve that. So it is something to consider. Alongside competitions, you then have the collaboration feature on Instagram. This is a fairly new feature. It's been about for a year and a half now. And essentially, instead of tagging a business, you can now collaborate with a business. And what that means is that both of you will share the same grid post on Instagram. So this is an example of Ted and Stitch collaborating with Deal Farm. We did a collaboration with Cool Crew Ice Lollies and Ted and Stitch Socks. And we shared the same post and ran a competition. So the mechanic was to follow Ted and Stitch and Deal Farm, and all of the engagement from that competition was on both of our profiles, okay? So it wasn't just on Ted and Stitch's profile, it was on both of our profiles. So it is a really good tool on Instagram that I absolutely love, and long may it continue. Recently, I find that Instagram have just launched more than one collaborator, so it doesn't need, back in the day, it used to be just 2 collaborators. You can now have up to, I think, 5 collaborators on a post, which is absolutely fantastic for businesses. A lot of celebrities are now starting to collaborate with like their makeup artists, their production team, and they're starting to share those posts with multiple people, not just one, okay? So it is a great feature. And then finally, you want to build and nurture community connections, okay? So with Instagram, you find that it is really important to do a little bit of community management. For anyone that doesn't know what community management is, it's essentially, you know, if a customer goes out of their way to comment under a reel or a grid post or even a story content of yourselves, it is important to reply back to that comment. Even if it's a simple thing like them dropping an emoji, react to that and reply to them, okay? It's a great way to help with you in terms of reach and impressions over on Instagram, but it's also important to just grow that community and build a connection with your community. I always use the example of Ryanair and Duolingo on TikTok. They're doing such a fantastic job in terms of community management, actually replying back to their customers. And as a result, people are following them and they actually just want to see what the social media managers are going to come up with next. So it's a great way to kind of build and nurture those connections there through social. And I think that that's something that Digital 24 Neve does extremely well, is building and nurturing that community there and building that kind of NI network of business owners. And finally, the next thing you want to be doing on Instagram is monitoring performance, okay? So you've taken all of those actions like I've mentioned, you maybe ran a couple of collabs to help with follower growth, you're looking at your Instagram SEO, you're dabbling into Instagram Reels. The next thing that you want to be doing is you want to monitor performance, okay? And how you can go about doing that, the best way, in my opinion, is actually going through the Instagram app on your phone. It has fantastic analytics where simply you go onto the right-hand side, the hamburger menu, and you click on that little tab, you click on Insights, and Instagram will give you a breakdown of your Instagram performance the past 7 days, 14 days, past month, or custom. You can view data up to 3 months, which I think is really important to note. You can look at things like follower growth. You can take a look at your engagement, so how many likes, comments, and shares your content's getting, your reach, impressions, and you can look at things like your hashtag performance and your story metrics as well. You've even got a separate section for your Instagram Reels, so you can take a look at how many video views you got and you could take a look at website traffic as well. So it is important to probably look at that and measure your analytics on Instagram at least once a month, guys. Okay, it help you. It just means then going forward, anytime you are creating content, that you're able to tell, right, I went out of my way, maybe spent 2 hours creating this video. Did we actually see a return there? Was it our top performing post this month? Or was it maybe a carousel post? That will tell you going forward, that's the kind of post that your customers like to see, and start to get out more content like that. Okay. So not even on the Instagram app, you've also got access to analytics over on Meta Business Suite. Meta Business Suite, again, is completely free. If you don't have Meta Business Suite or you're not familiar with it, it is essentially just go onto Google, type in Meta Business Suite, and from there you'll be able to schedule your posts, look at analytics, and take a look at your top performing posts. So it's an absolutely fantastic tool. Yes, and I absolutely love it. Claire, just seeing you've popped on camera there. I don't know if there's been a couple of questions coming through. You're on mute, sorry.
Please. Yes, a lot of great questions coming through. So thank you so much, Cara. There has been a lot of incredibly informative information there within under an hour, which is absolutely amazing. I know there's a lot of requests who are asking for this presentation, but I did say to them it will be on the Mid-Ulster District Council's YouTube. That will be able to view, I would say, from next week or so you can rewatch it. But do you want to continue on just with that final slide, or are you ready to go through some questions?
I'm happy enough to crack on with questions if there's a lot coming through there.
Perfect. Okay, so the first one that came through, I am doing collaborations with companies, but when I invite them to join, the reel or the post shows on their page it's not possible. Is that due to copyright music, or how do you get around that?
So that's copyright music, and your workaround around that is, so if you have access to copyright free music, i.e. you can play the likes of your Mariah Carey, your Christmas music and things like that, that means that you're happy, you're fine, but the collaborator is the issue. So your workaround is to reach out to the business and tell them to switch to a creator account. The creator account will still give them access to all of the business benefits, i.e. looking at analytics, but it will give them access to their copyright music, and that way you can now share the reel together. Okay, that's often the question I get, is if I don't have access to copyright music, it's because you're a business account. If you're a business account, I always recommend switching to creator, and that's just simply going onto your settings and go onto account settings and then switching your profile type. Okay,
excellent, thank you. Another one is, how can you spot someone who's buying followers and engagement? I've seen some bloggers and business pages who are growing extensively each week, and it seems out of line with growth patterns.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that I always recommend. There's an engagement rate calculator that I recommend called Flanks, PHLANX. It's a free website, and I think you can use it up to 3 times a day, and then you'll run out of your freeness, and then you can just use it the following day. But you can type in like the name or the username on Instagram on that website, and it will generate an engagement rate. Typically, an engagement rate above 2% is seen as normal, and that's good. But any engagement rate that's probably below 2%, I would question whether or not that influencer or that account has authentic followers and true engagement. Now, it could be a mixture of things where it's bot followers, or it could be just the Instagram accounts being over, they've had it for years and they're not posting as much, and as a result their engagement's dropped as a result. Other things that I would look at, for example, there could be an Instagram account with 50,000 followers, but yet their Instagram reels are probably sitting at 900 views. That's a red flag in my opinion. And I typically find, let's say benchmark wise, if there's an Instagram account with 10,000 followers, typically about 5% of their audience, not even 5, but 10% of their audience should be engaging with their Instagram reel content. So ideally they should be getting in around 1,000 views. So that's kind of a benchmark for you. Again, views and engagement do depend, but just the way you look at it is even just clicking onto their followers and taking and just scrolling and seeing who their followers are. If there are a lot of bot like accounts, or if they're people that are not from, UK, Ireland, typically you're like, oh, where did they come from? So tricky, wee bit of investigation work in my opinion, but I think the engagement rate calculator is really good. But even just going on to their Instagram reels and seeing a typical view and what a view looks like for them can help.
Great, thank you. We have a question from Victoria. Is it best to use hashtags within the caption or post them as a comment under your post?
It's always a question I get. It doesn't actually matter. Okay. I always find if you're going to put it in the comments section, do it as soon as the post goes live. And because I schedule posts, I put it within the caption myself personally, because hashtags will only work when the content actually goes live. If you put hashtags in the comment section, the post being live for 5 minutes, no one's going to see that content, particularly with those broad hashtags like hashtag restaurant. And there's going to be tons of content that's going to filter through that's just going to go on top of that content. So I would say comments if you want to, but do it straight away, or just have in the caption. It doesn't actually matter.
Thank you. There's a question, is there royalty-free music with Instagram?
Yes. If you are a business account and you do have access to the likes of Instagram Shop, unfortunately, you can't be switched to creator because you do have that Instagram Shop element. So you are treated as a business account. So you do find that anytime if you are, a business account, if you go onto the Instagram Music Library, all of your content is royalty free. Typically, you'll be able to tell because you can't get access to the likes of, your Christmas music, your Home Alone, your Harry Styles. You won't get access to that. It will be like things like lo-fi and all these unknown artists because they're copyright free, should I say.
Great. For Instagram Shop, do you need to have an e-commerce website, or can you just shop from Instagram without the website connected?
Instagram Shop, you need to have website is the best practice. Now, there is types of Instagram and Facebook Shop out there now where you can just drop the seller a message. In my opinion, it's not as effective. You might as well just not have Instagram Shop. If you are plugging your products, drop us a DM, in your caption, you're going to have that, or drop us a phone call to arrange your custom order, things like that. So unless you have an e-commerce business, I would probably not go down that route, and just keep to your organic Instagram presence and doing that kind of consistent content, whether it's reels, stories, and a good mix of that.
Thank you. Is imported reels from TikTok effective, or does it have to be made within Instagram?
Okay, so your workaround for that's probably something I put in the webinar. So a lot of my content from TikTok, I will always bring over to Instagram because it always still does perform well. The only thing you need to be mindful of is you don't want the TikTok watermark, okay? Instagram does not like watermarked third-party content. So if you're taking a TikTok video and you're uploading it to Instagram, there is a free website called Snaptik. Snaptik. It's a free website that allows you to copy the URL of your TikTok video and download it without a watermark. And that way that looks like a fresh video to Instagram. Okay, so that's your workaround. Similar to that, if you've got an Instagram reel and you want to upload it to TikTok, just go into Google, Instagram reel downloader, and there's loads of free websites out there that will allow you to download the video without a watermark.
Excellent, thank you. We have an anonymous question here. I do marketing for an accountancy practice. Most of our staff are camera shy. So how else can I get engaging content out on Instagram if we don't necessarily have a product to sell or promote?
With an accountancy firm, it's a bit more trickier. Obviously, there will be people that are naturally camera shy, and that is totally fine. So it's maybe just encouraging the accountancy staff themselves to do day in the life that doesn't involve having their face on camera. So come along with me as a day in the life as an accountant at, Belfast City Centre. And it could be them getting their morning coffee, them sitting down to do their emails. People love day in the life content. They love packing orders with me. They love the day in the life content. They love voiceovers. That could be an approach that you do look at. I would always, for that accounting firm that you're talking about, go on to TikTok and take a look at accountancy firms throughout the world, not just in Northern Ireland, and take examples and inspiration from them. Research is so important, and that's often where a lot of businesses go wrong, is they don't, look at their competitors to see, and take kind of like inspiration with their content. So take a look at other accountancy firms out there and see what content that they have out there that doesn't have faces in it, and kind of take inspiration from that.
Brilliant. I was wondering if you could explain how to pick a winner if you do a like and share for a voucher or a product.
The free website I use is commentpicker.com. It's totally free and allows you to select competition winners for Facebook or Instagram.
Brilliant. There's a question, if you don't have a website, can you add a link to a reseller shop? I think you've maybe covered that.
Things like that. Yep, that's no problem. Doesn't have to be a direct website. It can be your Facebook page, your TikTok page, your Etsy page, whatever link, as long as it's a link, you can add it.
Brilliant. There's actually a question that just came came to my attention there in the chat function, and quite a popular one across the board is, what's your thoughts or your advice on boosting paid ads?
Okay, if you're wanting to go down the boosted route, the best approach, and Digital 24's recommendation would be you'd better going down the paid ad route. So actually go onto Facebook ads itself and setting up an ad campaign. Boosted posts are really only good for impressions and for reach. If you're actually wanting your customer to take an action, i.e. downloading an app, going onto your website, purchasing a product, Facebook ads is your best bet, okay? And there's a lot of free tools and resources out there on how to set up Facebook ads and look at Facebook ads in a bit more detail. With boosted posts, it's great for awareness, in my opinion. It is really good if you've maybe got a new product, you're a new brand, or you're wanting to boost something for Black Friday, for example. It's great to maybe pump 20-30 pounds into it across maybe 3 or 4 days. That's the only time I would do boosted activity, though, is really just awareness purposes. If you want your customer to take a certain action, whether it's maybe to download a newsletter or maybe it's to purchase a product, you're better going down the Facebook ad route. Okay.
Great. And there's a question just following that in is, if you run a lot of adverts on Facebook or Instagram, does this affect your organic reach?
No, it actually benefits it. I always find that organic Facebook and paid advertising on Facebook work hand in hand. Obviously, if you're served an ad on Facebook and maybe it's by a brand that you don't really recognize and you don't know whether to trust it or not, you will tend to actually go onto their Facebook profile and take a look at the content that they're uploading. And if their content looks legit, it's good content, they've got a mixture of video, they've got their carousels, they've got nice pictures, they've got the consistency. Consumers are more likely going to trust your brand if you've got that consistent content and you are running ads alongside that.
Thank you. What is the difference in a creator and a business account on Instagram?
So creator account is essentially, it's like your influencer and content creators. So you have access to your analytics, you've got your dashboards, so you can actually get paid for content. You have access to all of your royalty-free music. A business account is the exact same, however, you don't have access to your royalty-free music and you have access to that addition of Instagram and Facebook shop. So if you're an e-commerce business and you want to tag your products, you're treated as a business.
Thank you. And there's a question, is there a way to add a second address to my Instagram account? I would imagine she's talking about an email.
No, there's address functions too. It actually is just the one address. So ideally what you want to do there is within your Instagram bio, you could have locations and then a list of your locations within your actual bio, because you can only have one address, unfortunately.
Perfect. Can you set up social media posts to post to your website?
If you have like websites like a CMS system, it depends on the plugin on WordPress, but definitely on Shopify, there's free apps on Shopify that allow you to plug your Instagram account to your website. I don't know if anyone's ever been on a website before and you scroll down to the bottom and you've got all the recent Instagram posts from that company. And that's actually just a plugin app on the likes of Shopify and WordPress, where you download it, you log into your Instagram page, and then all of your recent Instagram posts will filter through on your website. Hopefully that's what they mean by that question.
Thank you. And Anya is asking, what was the name of the site you mentioned to check engagement rates for fake growth, or she's missed the name?
Yeah, Flanks. So PHLANX.
Perfect. Thank you. Patricia is asking, do you have to download the comment picker before you do a giveaway?
No, Comment Picker is just a free website. So what you do is when the giveaway is finished, you just copy and paste the URL of your Instagram or Facebook post, and then it will generate all the comments and pick a random winner. So no.
Thank you.
And free apps as well that you can download for competition pickers. But again, it's just up to you. There's website tools or there's apps. It's totally up to your own personal preference.
Thank you. And I have there's an anonymous attendee asking, business owner or creator. Maybe she's asking, which platform would you recommend?
I always recommend creator account. Creator account is the best one because you've got access to your trending music and sounds. And obviously I'm pushing a lot of business owners to go down the rail route and posting that short form video content. And ideally you want to have access to your trending sounds and music for that. So creator account is ideal.
Brilliant. And finally, last question. We've got through 20 questions in about 10 minutes, so that's incredible. If your giveaway has over 1,000 entries, they tend to charge. Can you advise any good paid options?
Comment picker again, that's the thing. All of them used to be free up until about 6 months ago, in my opinion. And particularly when I'm working with influencers and I'm picking competition winners, that's when, you know, we're maybe hitting 2,000-3,000 comments. You have to go down that paid route, unfortunately. But comment picker will always be my number one. I've used it all the time, have never had any issues. It can generate like backup winners and stuff. So if you do need to go down that paid route, it is a fantastic website and it's not too costly either.
Fantastic. Cara, thank you so much for such an enlightening and engaging session. I've no doubt there will be quite a few key takeaways for each participant who joined the webinar this afternoon. And just to let you all know, Digital 24 have a number of upcoming lunch and learn sessions, which include designing Canva, Chat GPT and copywriting, Reels creation and editing. So be sure to check out their website for more information on that. We will be sending all attendees a 1-minute evaluation form, and we would really appreciate your advice and recommendations to just make future events even better. There's one final webinar and 2 in-person events planned for the remainder of this Mid-Ulster Enterprise Week. So please visit the website for further details. And the website is simply www.midulstercouncil.org/Enterprise Week. And by attending any events and webinars this week, you will be automatically added to the Chair's Prize Draw, which will take place on Friday, the 17th of November. So thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you again, Cara.
Thank you so much, guys. See you all soon.